Hello, this is Anna Pacheco, SantaFe101.com, and my guest today is Aaron Fowler, and he's a realtor with Homewise. Aaron, do I have your permission to record this interview?
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, the first thing I want to comment about is your hat. Tell me a little bit about your hat that you're wearing and the logo. What does that represent?
Well, so it's a big day. Santa Fe High Volleyball gets to have its first home game with fans in 18 months. So it's an exciting day. And then a little point of pride, my daughter, who is a sophomore, gets to suit up with the varsity team. And that's the first time she's ever gotten to do that. So
And so the hat, and I know the T-shirt also has the same
uh,
logo. Is that just because you're a fan, or are you a coach or anything? Oh, the shoes too. Look at that.
I'm just a super fan. I used to coach basketball a long time ago, but I'm just, you get to go watch your kids play. That's all I want to do.
Well, good. I did that when my kids were still when they were younger. And so, just like me, you're actually a Santa Fe native. I understand you. We both graduated from Santa Fe High. I'm about 20 years older than you are, but we both are alumnus of Santa Fe High. And your mom was an artist. Tell me about your mom. What kind of art did she do? Because this is definitely an art town.
Yeah, so it's actually my dad is James Griffith, and he's an artist.
Oh, he's the artist. I'm sorry. Okay.
So and he still has a studio in the house I grew up in, and he has done a lot of different mixed mediums. He did a lot of fish that were carved out of wood that he used to hang from the ceiling by fishing line, so they had that appearance of floating.
Hmm.
And now, as it's actually his 81st birthday today, happy birthday, Dad.
Oh, good.
Um, and so now, as he's gotten a little older, the carving isn't as fun for him. So he's doing a lot of panels and canvases, and he's stuck to animals. He's doing a lot of birds right now. He's getting ready to do a series of roosters and a lot of other things. He's done a lot of fish. I don't know if you can see that. That's actually one of his paintings that I got tattooed on the inside of my arm.
That is
Uh,
beautiful.
so he's done a lot of work.
And you said he still works out of the house you grew up in. Where was your house located? Your family
So
home?
we're on La Jolla Road, which crosses between, or used to, doesn't cross anymore, but used to go between Agua Fria and Alameda.
Okay.
And that crossing has since been cut off. We were the last house there. So he has his studio there still, and the house that my mom and he built.
Okay. So your mom was the nurse then. I was mistaken. Your
Yeah.
dad's the artist. Your mom, your late mother was the nurse. And tell me, how did you become a realtor? How did this whole thing with real estate come about for you?
Well, it's actually an interesting story. So when I was when I was 23, 24, and I was living at home, I was bartending, I was kind of living the king's irresponsible life. And one day my mom said, "You're going to buy a house." And I said, "Well, why would I want to do that?" Uh, and so she said, "Well, you want to do this. It's one of the ways that you can change your life." And so she helped me and co-signed, and we got ready to buy a house, and we were approved at the time for, I think, $130,000, which seemed like all the money in the world to me at that point. And we started calling realtors, including people we knew, and we couldn't get anybody to call us back. So I finally called a friend of mine and said, "Who's somebody that's our age who, is doing this and is decent at it?" And this friend of ours showed me one house. We bought it. We closed 28 days later. And it's actually a condo that I still own to this day up on Palace Avenue. And back then we got in for the incredible rate of 9.95%, which everybody couldn't believe that I had gotten that on a condo. So it's
And
and
you're saying back then, what year was that?
that was 1997.
Okay. Not too long ago, 23,
And
24 years ago. Okay.
And so after that happened, I thought, this is crazy. If people aren't calling people back, I've got to be able to make some money doing this. So I got my real estate license, and I started out at Santa Fe Properties in their new agent division there, under Georgette Romero, who was fantastic. And I had 32 sides my first year, I believe. And I did all of that by calling people that I went to high school with and answering the phone every time it rang, no matter what. And that was kind of my start into real estate 23, 24 years ago. And since then, I've worked at a couple other places. I've owned my own company. And I got an opportunity to go to Homewise about 8.5 years ago. And it's been the best decision I ever made. It's where I want to work. It's, it's what I love to do. It's helping people from our community stay in our community.
So tell me, how it differs? See, when I've already interviewed Rob Merlino from Homewise, but I had no idea that there are realtors with Homewise. So tell me how that whole thing, well, first of all, in case somebody hasn't seen the interview that I did on Homewise, explain to our viewers here what Homewise is, what it does.
So Homewise is a nonprofit, and what we do is help people buy homes in the community that they live and work in. So we help people in Albuquerque, we help people in Santa Fe, Espanola, Las Vegas. We're in quite a few different places. But the idea is that we are able to teach people how to manage their credit, what they can afford. We have some people who come in who have sparkling credit. They know how to do all of this. We're still able to help them. We have people come in who work with us for 2 years. We help them rebuild their credit, figure out what they want in a home, and then we're able to help them through the entire process, including with a loan. But as a nonprofit, the other great part is you can use any one of our services that you want to. So, I don't really like the term one-stop shop because there's a lot of stops to it. People come in, you start out, we get you pre-approved for a loan that fits you so that you're in something that you're comfortable with. And then we're able to help you the whole way through purchasing your home and, getting you into that house. So there's a whole lot of facets to what we do. We're also a home builder. So one of the things that people have heard about Homewise is if you use us, you have to buy one of our homes. That the homes that we build probably represent about 10% total of what we help people buy. And there's no pressure to buy one of our houses. I think they're great. I actually just bought one. And that is my residence now. I moved into one of our new subdivisions. But as we move forward, we want to build more and more because there's so little out there and we want to be able to help more people. But we're really here to help people get to where they want to be.
And so as a Homewise realtor, you just help people sell their houses and buy houses, or what does that mean?
So the majority of what we do is helping people buy their houses. However, we have started a resale program. So we have a very robust listing program that is headed by Erin Bryant. She has been fantastic in this. She took it over about a year ago. Her team is actually going to list and sell over 100 houses this year, well over 100 houses. So we do both sides. But Homewise was really, when I started out, it was only helping people with buying their new home. And now we've really expanded that so that we can help more people. And we find a lot of times that when we list somebody's home, we find somebody else that can buy it. Because we have somebody in our pipeline. We have so many people that we're working with that we're able to help people move from one to the next.
And then how do you get these, I call them leads, but how do you find these houses to sell? Because it's from what I understand, because I interview a lot of realtors here, that there's such a low inventory. How does Homewise find houses, and are there like parameters, like we can only, arrange the sale of your house if it's under a certain amount of money, or how does this all work?
So we have not put a cap on that, but we definitely understand what our market is, right? We've had people approach us that have houses that are $600,000-$700,000, which just isn't our market, right? And generally with those, we will talk to them, see what the best way we can help them is. Sometimes we refer them out. Sometimes those people already have somebody that want to buy it and they just want us to help them facilitate paperwork. And in that case, we'll help them, but that's going to be a little bit out of our range. However, we're willing to help people out. The majority of listings that we get come under $500,000, and most of those are probably under 375. But and it's hard for me to talk about affordable housing and throw out numbers like that. It's a lot of money. But we are working with people to help them to figure out how to get into these houses. And the majority of our business comes from past customers, people who have used us before, who want to come back and have us help them again.
Well, let me just ask you, like you mentioned as an example, like somebody had a $600,000 or $700,000 house. Why would they want you to sell it rather than another realtor? What is the advantage of going to Homewise?
Well, so in that range, generally we're not going to take that listing, right? That's not something that we get it.
Well, let me just backtrack. Let me just rephrase that. What would be the advantage if somebody had a house that's $350 to $400,000. What would be the advantage of having HomeWise listed rather than, there's so many realtors here. What would be the advantage? Why would somebody choose HomeWise?
Well, I think first off, it's the team that you get. In Santa Fe, there's 9 realtors that will basically be working for you, even though you'll have one person that you will be working with the most. We have a built-in team of people who are creating new buyers for a listing like that. And then we do offer some benefits in terms of what we can do with our commission structure and how we're able to help people. But the number one thing is that we, the majority of our listings have sold within a day over the last 90 days. And over the last year, probably 85% of those listings have gone to HomeWise customers. So you're helping another person in your community get into a home, which is, that's a fantastic feeling. And generally, so we're able to get this done quicker for a little bit better of a price and help you make your community a better place.
And so you're saying that you have 9 realtors that you work at HomeWise. Are they all in the Santa Fe area, or does this 9 realtors represent Albuquerque as well?
So 9 is just for Santa Fe. We're actually up to about 17 total now. And so the rest would be down in Albuquerque for the most part. We do have one person who is a licensed realtor who just works in doing rehab projects down in Albuquerque. So, but we've got a lot of people out there to help, whether it's Santa Fe or Albuquerque.
And why would a realtor want to work at HomeWise? I mean, you're saying that it's a great feeling that you're helping people in your community, but would you still, I mean, commission wise, are you still getting compensated the way you would if you were working for Santa Fe Properties or somebody?
So it's a totally different deal than working for Santa Fe Properties because we are actually employees. And so the realtors that work for me get a paycheck every 2 weeks, no matter what happens. So whereas in regular real estate, you survive on commission check to commission check, which if you're one of the big people out there and you sell a lot of homes, that works really well for you. But for some people, that's not the way it works. With HomeWise, we have kind of a built-in pipeline, and you're able to, get your deals done, and you every 2 weeks you get a paycheck. You also get benefits, you get days off, sick leave, all of those things. It makes it a wonderful place to work. It's not for some realtors. If your dream is to make $1 million a year, that you're not going to want to be at HomeWise anyway.
So it's like a real job, as you'd say. So you keep saying you're realtor. So do you supervise? Are you the department head of the 9 realtors in Santa Fe?
Yeah, so I'm actually a qualifying broker for all of HomeWise for Santa Fe and for Albuquerque, and the director of real estate sales. So I have stepped out from selling as much to helping the realtors, facilitate their day-to-day, work through problems, and also figuring out how to get them more clients and help them make their transactions easier.
And so they all report to you. So 17 realtors are reporting to you right now. The buck stops with Aaron.
I don't know if it stops with me, but it certainly comes to me.
I mean, so does HomeWise, do you sell condos and townhomes, or are they just single family homes? What type of homes can you provide?
We do single family homes, townhomes, condos. We can help with manufactured homes. So we do a lot of different things, and it really depends on the areas that we're working in, what's available there. But the one thing about HomeWise is we're pretty much able to help anybody. We want to get out there and help people stay in the community.
And you say, so is this just for first time home buyers? I mean, only though, or anybody can come to you?
Anybody can come to us, whether you've owned a home before or not. We do have some parameters that we like to, focus into, but we help anybody who comes in the door that says, I need help with this.
And then what if you have a great income? I mean, should they still come to you? You still would work with them?
Yeah, we can absolutely help people that have a great income. We help across the board. And one of the things about Santa Fe is you can have a fantastic income, and if you have 2 car payments, you might not be able to afford a house. Like, we've got to help you figure out how to manage your credit so that you can afford that house.
When you say manage your credit, because you've said this a couple of times to me, I mean, not everybody's going to go in there. That, I mean, I would say, I would like to be optimistic and think that 75 to 80% of people know how to balance their checkbook. I mean, is that not true, or
I don't want to insult people, but I'd say that's optimistic.
really?
And I think it comes down to a lot more than balancing your checkbook. We actually have a financial fitness class that I took at age 42 that I wish I had been required to take to get out of high school. Which is just, so when you're managing your credit, it comes down to so much more than just balancing a checkbook. It is, how much of your credit are you using on a daily basis? How much are you using? You have credit cards. Are they all maxed out? Or do you pay them off? Or are they under a 30% balance? Where are they sitting? At any given point, do you have too much available credit? Do you have too little available credit? Do you have, are your credit lines old enough to establish that? Because quite frankly, if we can help somebody get into that 740 credit range, it makes a difference, right? You have to get over a certain number, 635, 620, to really be able to qualify for a loan. But when you get it up even higher, it helps more. So, and the credit scores are not my forte. There's some people at Homewise that are way better than that, and that's why they do that. But it's really when you learn how to manage those things and you learn what goes into it, and then you can manage your credit score, and when you're able to get the best interest rates, you're able to get the best terms on your loans. And it doesn't just apply to housing, right? That applies to everything, to cars, to credit cards, to if you needed a personal loan, if you were, any of those things that people might do. It makes a huge difference across the
Is
board.
there kind of like a rule of thumb that like not more than 30% of your monthly income should go to housing, or what is there like a rule of thumb with that? I mean, if you just 50%, it's probably way too much, I think.
Well, so what they will approve you for the amount going towards housing, and what I think it should be, is a much different. I think they're different amounts. So technically you can get approved up to 45% debt to income of your total income. I think that's really high. For some people, if you're young and you're just starting out, and you're going to be making more money in the future, like maybe that's just fine. It's going to be a scrape for a couple of years, but you're going to make more money in the future. If you're on a fixed income and you're never going to make any more money, that's a lot of your money going towards your house. So with that said, for each person, it's entirely different and personal. For some of us, you're comfortable with that. It's how you've managed your money. You know what's going where it's going to be. And for some of us, we need to have a much tighter budget because we want to have more money left over at the end of the month to do things like travel or, do other things. So it's really depends on the individual person.
Do you have to turn down a lot of people? I'm assuming there's people that come and say, there's no way you just really come back to us in 2 years or something like that.
So we never say come back to us in 2 years. We say we want to work with you and help you figure this out. And so we have counselors and coaches who will help people work through their credit and work through their bills and figure out what they need to pay off first to raise their credit scores and how to pay off. We have people who walk into Homewise who are approved day one. They're ready to go. They can buy. We have the very first customer I worked with had been working with Homewise for 6 years and was able to become buyer ready after 6 years and figured out how to buy a house. And they're still in that house. I see them every now and then still. So there's such a wide gamut depending on what people have.
What is the average down payment that somebody has to put down for a Homewise approved loan or home?
So we do down payments of 2% a lot, but it depends on where your income is. It can vary anywhere from 2% up to 5 to 8%, but it really depends on what you're buying, where you're buying, and the loan you get. But our average customer is getting in at 2% down and able to buy a house with that.
And what would if it's not a Homewise home, what is like the norm right now for a down payment?
So it really depends on the loan product you're in. There are FHA loans that have 3% down. There are some 0% down, but then you end up paying a whole lot of mortgage insurance and a lot of other fees. And we really try to minimize any of those fees at Homewise. If you're getting in at 2%, you're going to have two loans. You'll have a first and a second. They're both super competitive, and it'll keep you way under another loan product where you're having to pay a large monthly mortgage insurance premium.
And what is your, we're getting close, we're at the end of the interview now. What is your, just, I know this past year has been really crazy because of COVID, and I hear from everybody, not just in Santa Fe, but throughout the country, not just only in New Mexico, that the inventory of housing is really low right now. What do you see in your crystal ball for Santa Fe in housing? Because I know this is an expensive place. This is my hometown. I know how expensive it is now. What do you see in the future for people wanting to live in Santa Fe, buying a home here?
So I think the future is bright. I think that fortunately right now, lending is very cheap. Money is, I talked about earlier, my first interest rate was 9.95%. We've seen people lock in on interest rates as low as 2.4. We're hovering right about 3% right now, 3 to 3.5, which is historically really inexpensive money. So I think we have that in our favor. I think we've got a couple tough years here with low inventory. It'll be interesting to see with the vaccine coming and everything, with people lightening up a little bit, if we start to see more inventory come on. But really, for us to stabilize our prices, we need more inventory. However, having said that, I think it's a fantastic time to buy a house. And this is my personal opinion. I think it's a great time because you can borrow more for less. And so you can get into, a little bit more of a house. And we're seeing that across the board. That's Albuquerque and Santa Fe, where, we have historically low numbers of houses.
And in terms of newer homes that you're saying, that aren't there some new developments that Homewise is working on?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So we have Vista Serena that we just finishing up. We have Desert Sage coming up. We have Desert Sage will be 82 homes. 20 of those are designated as affordable. So those will have a little bit of extra on them to help families get in. Then we also have homes in Oshara. We've got 5 more houses that we're going to build in there. And then we have another subdivision that will be close to the Southside Public Library that will be coming up. We're probably still a year and a half out on that. It's a ways out, but Desert Sage hopefully will be selling in there by the middle of May.
And so in terms of total, then, of all the different neighborhoods you just mentioned, are we looking at maybe 150 new homes coming on the market, brand new? Or
yeah, we're looking right about that. And we also have a couple infill projects that we're doing. One will be
infill project. What does that mean?
Sorry, infill project would be, these are houses that we're going to renovate, or condos that we're going to renovate, that will be going out in an affordable manner. So we have probably another 20 there that we're doing in Santa Fe. And we've got about 20 we'll do in the next year in Albuquerque. And then we also have a townhome project that we'll be doing on Silver in Albuquerque that will be another 16 houses. So we're building as many as we can right now and looking to explore to push that to more.
It's encouraging. So roughly, 2022, 2023, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, or it's a brighter horizon.
I think it is a bright horizon. And, one of the reasons that I work at Homewise is that we are able to be here and fight for people and fight for them to be able to get into something that they can afford.
Well, I'm going to put all your contact details. They'll accompany this interview. So hopefully you'll get some new leads. Not that you need them, but maybe you do. I want to thank you, Aaron, and good luck with that volleyball game later today with your daughter.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.